Okay, my computer says it's 10 a.m. and I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm Mike Tremonti, Chair of the HRI Formula Advisory Committee. And if I can remind everyone to put their Zoom on mute unless you're speaking to minimize any disruptions. With that, I'd like to do a quick roll call. So Jeff Burton.
Here.
Chuck Fox.
Good morning, here.
Okay, Angelica Marin Hill. Okay, Lauren Shear.
Here, good morning.
Morning. Jenny Gomez Leon.
Here.
Tomas Quijano.
Morning, here.
Chris Kavash.
Good morning, here.
Good morning. Penny Harkey.
I'm here.
Dr. Richard Lang.
Present.
Dwayne Morse.
Sorry, here.
Okay, Michael Miller.
Morning, here.
And Dr. Paula Myrick Short.
Here, good morning.
Good morning. Okay. Appears that we have everyone but Angelica. So that certainly constitutes a quorum.
Hey, Mike, I think we have, it looks like Ken Kello from UT Southwestern maybe sitting in for Angelica.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Angelica will be here, but yeah, she asked me to also attend. Thanks.
Okay, good catch.
Sure.
Good catch. Okay, if we could, the meeting minutes were sent out in advance with the meeting notice. And if I could open the floor for any discussion regarding the meeting minutes, or if hearing none, a move to approve the minutes.
I'll move.
Dr.
I'll
Lang.
second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of approving the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So let's go ahead and jump on to, we're just moving right through the agenda here. It's on to number 3. The consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the commissioner's charges. The one that certainly is first and foremost to be addressed is the INO study. You also were sent out a lot of the work that Ed had put together with the various indices and the rates associated with the various formulas. I guess I would like to make one recommendation as I've reviewed everything for your consideration, and that is to focus for us to focus on the U.S. city averages as opposed to the regional averages, even though in some cases the regional averages are higher. I think it would be tough to defend Houston over DFW to the coordinating board or to the legislature as to, why did you pick that number? And so some of that is, maybe it's purely selfish because since I'm going to have to be reporting to the board, I'd like to at least be able to feel comfortable with a broader index as opposed to a regional one when we obviously we cover the entire state. Is everyone okay with that? And
Okay.
if,
Yeah, Mike, can you clarify, as you look at the chart, are you talking about column E, I assume? Just for everybody, for clarification for everybody.
well, let's see, column E.
And I'm looking on the clinical mission specific rate of 16.08.
Well, actually, I was looking at the summary page,
Okay.
that the summary of the different projection models. The CPI for DFW and Houston were for the CPI in total was 18 and 16.4 at the regions. US city average was 18.1.
You on mute, Mike?
I am not, but can you no longer hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mike.
Okay, I'm sorry. And then the medical care, it's 21.1 and 20.3 as opposed to 19.9. So not significantly different, but certainly more difficult to explain why we would pick one over the other, especially given the fact that we have, that doesn't even factor in really West Texas or the Valley or whatever else. So, at this point, I've heard that that the academics, I believe, are talking about using the higher education price index, which very well may be appropriate for the academics. I think we have as health-related institutions some additional cost considerations given the medical field that we're in. And with that, I'd like to open it up to the floor for recommendations or discussion regarding the approach that we would take. And whether we should be leaning toward medical as opposed to the US city average or to the higher education price index. Don't everyone speak up at once. It's
I agree with you. I think the U.S. city average medical care, the 19.9% increase, is the appropriate one and makes sense for our institutions being health related. And just looking at the dollar amounts there in column D on the summary, 537 million. Once you get into that many hundreds of millions, there's not a lot of difference between the different rates.
right.
So I'm very comfortable with the medical care.
Well, and it's probably optimistic to think that we would get all 537 million. But I think we can certainly justify the use of this, and I think this was a good approach toward as we move forward to try to at least regain some of the inflationary pressures we're certainly encountering the last few years, as opposed to just saying, hey, let's shoot for 2001. So it doesn't quite get us all the way back to the formula rates of 2001, but at least it gets us much closer and potentially sets us on a path for using that as a guide as we move forward as well. Any other comments regarding the use of the medical care US city average?
And I agree with Jeff, Mike. I mean, it sounds appropriate, and I would show them all three rates so they can show that we just didn't pick the highest rate available. Actually, if we were doing it by Texas metropolitan areas, it'd actually be higher, but we're normalizing it to all U.S. cities. So I agree.
Okay, okay, great, great. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Happy to
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Okay, great. All those in favor of moving forward with the US city average medical care, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Okay, well, we will move forward with that. Ed, we have a decision. It's a the next item really is associated with the podiatric medical residents. I'm gonna get the appropriate pronunciation of this soon, and it appears that we are talking a total of 21 additional residents. If we wanted to consider including them in the graduate medical education formula. With that said, there was also I think a breakdown of that information regarding where those fell. Is there any thoughts regarding moving forward with this? Okay.
Remind, and we talked about the podiatric program that will be starting. Remind me how many students, and I'll tell you why I'm asking, how many students?
There'll
will
be 40. There'll be 40 students,
Okay. And 40 each class, right, Michael?
40 each class. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so I would support this. I mean, in general, we're trying to get 1.1 residency slots per student. This is just even half that. So I would certainly support adding these to the GME funding.
Okay.
I would also support that, having worked with the task force that's represented here.
Okay.
Ms. Paul.
It appears that, at least as I look at this, A&M and San Antonio appear to have some of these residents. I'm not familiar with who provides support at the Hunt Regional Medical Center, John Peter Smith. I'm assuming John Peter Smith is UNT.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay. Okay, can I then have a motion for moving forward with including these residents in the GME
moved.
formula? Okay, Penny, and Dr. Short, a second. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will, any opposed? Okay, unanimous. So we will move forward with including those. Emily, any other items from that perspective, from the residency that we need?
I don't think so. Ed, is there anything else?
Well, I think if I'm looking at what we have to cover this time, I believe Michael Mueller was going to update the committee on the progress of the work group related to the new podiatric medical degree. Is that correct?
Yes, that's we'll touch on that in a moment, but
Okay.
I guess I was focused on the residency aspect of it first. So
Okay, that's fine.
okay.
Mike, and I know it's not on the agenda, again, just a suggestion, as a group, do we want to consider, obviously, we'll talk about the funding rate, but if we're going to have 40 students training in Texas and the state's paying for them, should we at least let THECB know that our goal is to get 1.1 residency slots per podiatric student and make that a future aspiration. Would that be something that we would want to consider and we would want to do? Let me throw that out.
But I would extend it beyond just that residency program. I think as we continue to expand our medical schools, I think that's going to be a challenge all the way across the board to try to maintain that 1.1. But so I would suggest even be broader and make the recommendation that we do shoot to provide the funding for the 1.1 coverage. So I agree with you, but I would say let's go bigger in that respect. Okay. The next item is just as much along the lines of some review of formula changes. We'd asked a subgroup to come out and look at allied health, headed up by Lauren and Jenny. Lauren, do you have an update?
Yes, so the subcommittee met twice, and we have reviewed a methodology to look at allied health graduate level programs versus the undergraduate level programs. So we are going to start working on gathering that information. As expected, I think this process may take a little bit longer than, say, just this HRI FAC meeting time. And so we may need to continue looking at that and pulling those numbers in the interim, so to speak, and then come back to next HRI FAC meeting with more information. But Jenny, if I missed anything, please feel free to add to that.
No, I think we met in the format and the methodology, I think is something that everybody really agreed on pretty easily. It's just a matter of the time on what that it would really take to get that information collected and analyzed in time to make a strong recommendation, a supported case in this particular report.
Okay. So is it safe? Well, how comfortable are you as far as tabling this for next meeting and see, we can then sort of do a status check at that point in time and see where you stand?
I think that sounds great.
Okay, we will go ahead and do that. The final charge that we have open is related, as Ed had mentioned, the podiatric medicine degree, and Michael, I know you were doing some work with that as far as the costing goes. How is that progressing?
It's progressing quite well. We had a very fruitful discussion in the last meeting. We've met at least 3 times, maybe 4. But the last meeting, we got the dean of our medical school together to talk about the similarities and differences in the education and how we're going to deliver that. The short version of what we decided is that the weight should be inclusive of that of a School of Medicine student. So I'll be drafting a white paper for the committee to review and submitted to the committee prior to the November formal advisory discussion. So to give you some background on the process that we went through, we looked at the course curriculum, we looked at the faculty, the mature cost, if you will, on what it would take to deliver that education, and found that it would best fit within the medical school weight.
Okay.
Anything I missed, guys, that we want to highlight now, or just wait till the white paper comes out?
Okay. Any other additional comments or thoughts regarding the work that Michael and the work group is doing?
I know Dr. Lang had a lot of questions. He has a lot of great questions of our dean. So I didn't know if Dr. Lang, you wanted to elaborate a bit more.
No, I just want the group to know it was very thoroughly vetted. And so I feel really comfortable that we've really done due diligence, and that's the correct decision, our recommendation. So thank you, Michael.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Lang.
So with us resolving the I&O and infrastructure and
I'm sorry, Mike, can I make one more comment
sure.
to the group? And we will be adding money. The recommendation will be to ensure that the legislature funds this, that it's not going to be taken away from the current formula pot. So this is going to be additional funds. So I just want to make that one point. Thank you, Mike.
Great, thank you. I know everybody submitted their estimates for their mission-specific formulas for Ed to factor things into the mix. That did go out as well to everyone. If with the concurrence of the committee, I think with us having these numbers tied down, we could probably begin drafting our letter to the board, and with everyone's concurrence, I would say we'll put that together and then solicit feedback over the next month and get and then for next meeting we can then make some determinations as to again how we move forward with podiatrics and if anything comes up on the allied health side, can adjust accordingly, but at least sort of get the ball moving on our recommendation. Is that okay with everyone? I understand that y'all really would like to see these meetings continue on till March or April. But you know, it's a fun group. It's what the heck. So with that said, I'm starting to challenge the length of some of the records set by previous meeting holders, with us coming in at 10:22. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, the November 16th at 10 a.m. I'm assuming that is, we're still good with that. Meeting 5 is December 7th, 2021, if needed. And then there is actually a meeting set or tentatively set for January 4th on a Tuesday. So if it extends that long, I think that probably would be a record in recent history for extending it out. So I'd be surprised, but you never know. Any additional comments, concerns, thoughts? Okay. Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second.
Seconded.
Okay. I'm assuming everyone's in favor. Good seeing everyone. I appreciate it. Just before gaveling this to a close, Ed, is there anything else you need?
I don't believe so. I think the committee has given us enough direction that we will go forward and prepare a draft report with all of the formula item numbers in the report, and then y'all can pick up and modify the text to your pleasure.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, everyone.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
you.